Good morning and welcome to the Safety Committee. Good morning. Do we have any public comments this morning?
There are no public speakers this morning.
Thank you, Ann. The approval of the minutes for the April meeting. We don't have a quorum, so we'll take it up at the next meeting. Right. Work plan. Ann, are there any changes?
No, there are no changes to the work plan.
There are none. Okay, let's go into the safety metrics.
Okay, so the April and May metrics are in your committee books, but we will be providing a presentation in more detail on the metrics. So we can just move on to that if that's okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So next, in keeping with the spirit of SMS and our work plan, we'll be touching on two of the four components of SMS, safety promotion and safety assurance, during this presentation. I'll be starting off with the safety promotion. There we go. Okay. So as safety has really been a growing function at MTA headquarters and fairly new at MTA headquarters, we felt it important to touch as many employees as possible. So during June, we held our first safety day at 2 Broadway. We touched over 800 employees and really had great interaction with them. We interacted with over 800 employees, providing them some information about the resources that the Safety Management Office can provide to them. And it was really a great day, and we look forward to doing that again. In an effort to focus people's attention on the task at hand, we created an all-agency awareness brochure. And this brochure was tailored to each of the agencies while keeping the message consistent across the agencies. So each agency created the brochure with their own photos in place so that the employees would really feel and could relate to the brochure itself. And I've provided you all with a copy of the headquarters brochure just to get an idea of the content in there. And now we'll move on to New York City Transit and MTA Bus with Carl Hammond.
Great, thank you and good morning. In an effort to address subway customer accidents, New York City Transit has a number of initiatives underway. With 81% of the accidents being slip, trips, falls, and 90% of those occurring in stations, we've identified the top 25 stations, and we have an audit program where the Office of System Safety goes out with station personnel to inspect the stations to ensure that defects are being categorized and addressed properly. Also, as you can see from the slide, there are public awareness campaigns to address safety-related messages. Sure.
When you identified the top 25 stations, are these places where there have been slips, trips, and falls, or places that you have identified conditions that might cause those?
They are the top 25 stations where slip, trip, falls have occurred, and then we go out to identify and take a look at the station to see if the defects that have been identified are categorized properly but also addressed, and if there's anything else that's been
if it's a situation, if it's a condition that only occurs after a heavy rain, will you be aware of that?
Well, that's something that we try to take a look at as we drill through, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So regarding employee lost time accidents, overall employee lost time accidents is down 9.5% on an annual basis. And some initiatives contributing to the decrease has been a focus on toolbox safety talks and auditing of them to ensure that they are encompassing and interactive with employees. We have used technology, including equipment like the Critter, to reduce employee exposure to hazards, and we have produced short videos for job-specific tasks that have historically resulted in employee injuries. Moving to subway fires, 70% of the fires are on the right-of-way and 61% of those are due to debris. To combat this issue, New York City Transit is using portable vacuums for station and track cleaning, which has been very helpful in removing over 3,000 tons of debris over the past 12 months. And with the recent arrival of 1 of 3 vacuum trains, which is currently under testing, we aim at removing more debris and driving the number of right-of-way fires down. Sure, of course.
You say, when you use the term debris, are you referring to paper products?
Anything that's been dropped and debris down onto the roadbed. Typically, it's stuff that's been paper, plastic bottles, bags, so on and so forth. In line with moving to a SMS approach to safety, we have been looking at leading indicators. An example is a joint track safety audits that evaluates roadway worker protection. It's a team of system safety and union representatives that perform random and unannounced audits of the protection set up to safeguard employees working on the tracks. They look at a number of items, including safety briefings, flagging arrangements, to name a few, to help prevent serious injuries along the right-of-way. Some track initiatives to help in reducing the number of broken rails is the use of a rail grinder, the installation of friction pads, which helps with the resiliency of the rails, and installation of continuous welded rail, which dramatically reduces the number of joints, which is where many of the breaks occur. Now we'll move to the bus section and Pierre View.
Good morning and thank you. To address bus collisions and collision injuries per million miles, I'd like to highlight two successful initiatives that have been at the core of our safety culture. The first is our Oversight Committee. The committee consists of road operations personnel, the general manager, the road operations AGMs, safety and training personnel, and we meet quarterly to discuss trends, mitigation strategies, and focus on high-priority collision locations. The second initiative is the Division Safety Committee. The committee consists of general managers, depot operations managers, road operations managers, and our partners from the union, and bus safety training. This committee meets monthly to address road safety issues, share current trends in the reduction of collisions and lost time accidents. And this committee also has the ability to react quickly to something that may have happened yesterday that hasn't become a trend yet because we're getting the information live. Okay? Moving on to leading indicators. Our Vision Zero training, which we initiated in mid-2014 to engage bus operators on issues of pedestrian and bicyclist safety. This training emphasizes the current challenges and recent trends when dealing with pedestrians and cyclists. We are currently cycling our 12,000 operators through the second version of this program. The program was proven to be effective with a particular impact via the use of videos of actual accidents and near misses, and sparks a healthy exchange of views on what can be done to prevent accidents. I would also like to provide an update on two new technologies we are testing. There are currently 288 buses equipped with pedestrian turn warning system. This system provides audible and visual warnings to pedestrians while the bus is turning. The system is very promising, so we're planning on expanding via retrofits and new buses to 600 more buses in addition to the 288. There are 145 buses equipped with the collision warning system. This system warns the operator of the presence of potential hazards on the sides, front of the bus via visual and audible cues. We're currently evaluating a new enhanced system that has night vision capability. And we'll provide an update in the future.
We'll move to Long Island Railroad and Lori Ebbinghazen.
Good morning. So at Long Island Railroad, safety is not just a priority, it's a core value of the organization, and our mantra is think safety, act safely. Every decision you make, every action you take should be with the value of safety in mind. So our challenge on the employee lost time injury side is that we've kind of plateaued a little over at a rate of 3 injuries per 200,000 hours worked. So our challenge is always to continue to try to drill down through and break through that plateau that we've reached. And we do that through a multifaceted and very collaborative effort. It's very important to us that our labor partners are involved in every step of the way. We have a number of labor management committees, and we're very fortunate that each of our operating departments also have dedicated staff focused on safety. So we have monthly as well as quarterly meetings with our labor partners on a number of issues, whether it's specific to transportation, the mechanical department, PPE, so that constant dialogue is important to us. We also lay a solid foundation not only in the beginning of an employee's career, but throughout their career through our safety training. So in the beginning of their career, they get a foundation of training that then follows them throughout the course of their career and as they change crafts and positions within the department. Another key focus for us is setting up people for success. Our job safety briefings and our weekly safety toolbox and tailgate talks help to focus our employees through our departments on the critical importance of safety every day. But in addition, when something does occur, we issue red alerts or corporate safety notices. So when an event does occur, that we want to make sure that our employees are aware of the basic facts of the events and what they can do to mitigate against the hazards and the reoccurrence of the event. So our red alerts and our safety alerts are important ways of communicating with our employees as well. In January, we updated our corporate safety rules, and our corporate safety rules are very much tied to our field observations and testing. It's important, it's nice to have all sorts of policies and procedures and training, but if that's not getting reinforced in the field, and if we're not doing observations to ensure that our employees are understanding and applying the procedures properly, or in addition, providing us feedback on rules or procedures or policies that need to be changed, it's important to us that we have that cycle of communication with our employees. So those are some of our focus for lost time injuries. In addition, we're also very focused on facility and right-of-way inspections and housekeeping initiatives. Our fire marshals, our safety officers, different departments, we're constantly being vigilant. We have a right-of-way task force with MTA police because our environment sends messages to our employees as well about how we feel about safety, and it's important for us that we're vigilant about that and keep focused on and setting up an environment for success. We are also leveraging technology to communicate with our employees and keep them constantly up to date with relevant information. So our safety rules and our safety rule of the day are now available through an app on iPhones. A lot of our employees are getting issued, especially in our engineering department, iPhones to help them in their work in the field. We also have a very robust job task hazard analysis program. So as a foreman or a gang foreman or supervisor is going to assign a task to an employee, they can go right on the internet and find the JTHA and what methods and procedures need to be put in place so that the employee can perform the task safely. Our PPE catalog is available on the internet, and we also partnered with Metro North, and with the help of MTA IT, this year we launched a new enterprise safety system that's really designed to help us to monitor trends and really drill down into what's happening so that we can focus and target our interventions appropriately. So the enterprise safety system is something that we see between Metro North and Long Island that'll really help us to move our safety performance ahead. On the customer injury side, to reduce reportable customer injuries, we're very focused also on station inspections. And obviously during adverse weather conditions, our challenge is to help our customers navigate through snow and ice. Our stations and our engineering department are very focused and have a very strategic approach. They monitor real-time conditions and can redeploy forces, and we've seen some benefit from that as well in reducing our customer injuries. Penn Station is always a challenge for us, and that is the location where we have the greatest amount of customer injuries. We continue to work with our partners, Amtrak, New York City Transit, and New Jersey Transit, to sponsor at least twice a year customer safety awareness days. This year, we heightened the engagement by having a safety wheel where people had to answer questions, and we found that has really helped to focus us and our customers on traveling together safely through Penn Station. And obviously, we continue to focus on being train smart and having that safety awareness. So there's a number of initiatives that we're using to drive down trying to enhance our safety performance at the Long Island Railroad.
Now we'll move. We have a question.
Thank you for the presentation. Very well. I'd like to raise an issue, and possibly at a corporate level we can look at it, maybe with some headquarter involvement. But in very rare cases, but they occur, employees are suffering injuries outside of their work assignment. In transportation, there's a report time, there's a release time, and people come to work early, and again, in very rare examples, they may sustain an injury before their official report time, or they're delayed, not relative to overtime, leaving a location, and they sustain an injury after their release time. And we're categorizing them as Class B accidents, but the employee is on their own. They need to use personal time to mend sometimes from those injuries. And they're not always very involved, but it's still a hardship to the employee. So I certainly not want to discourage people from getting to work early or encourage them to run off the property as quickly as they can. But if this continues to be a hardship, it's going to be more concerning. Maybe at a corporate level, we can come up with some kind of a time frame that can be acceptable, that employees can still be protected by the company prior to a report time or soon after.
Obviously, there's a labor issue there, and so why don't we take a look at that, Vinny? Glad to do that with labor relations.
So we'll move to Justin Vonashek at Metro North.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Employee lost time injuries are down 10% year over year. A majority of all lost time injuries can be attributed to either slip, trip, and fall or overexertion. To address our slip, trip, and fall injuries, we have implemented various programs. One such program is our facility and right-of-way audit and inspections. These inspections are handled by safety and operating department managers, which team up and identify various hazards in the field. Over the past 12 months, we have done nearly 1,000 audits. We also recently rolled out SLAM, Stop, Look, Assess, and Manage. This is a new situational awareness technique for our employees. By remembering SLAM, our employees are more likely to stop if the situation appears unsafe or take the necessary steps to make the situation safe. And finally, in unison with all of the other MTA agencies, we handed out a situational awareness brochure to each of our employees. This is a nice reminder to our employees, reminding them of the importance of maintaining situational awareness at all times. The other area leading to employee lost time injuries is overexertion. So one of the initiatives we implemented to help us address this is our review of job safety analysis. We are focusing on those jobs with a high probability of exertion-related injuries. Following the JSAs, we are working with our employees to ensure they are performing their tasks as safely as possible. And we also are encouraging our employees to use different techniques while working, making sure they stretch before going to work, ensuring they are not working in one position too long, things of that nature. I know the stretching sounds a little crazy, but it actually helps our employees, so most definitely. So we try to stress that with our employees. And then, of course, JSBs. So we are also focused on our job safety briefings. This is probably one of the most important steps in ensuring our employees work safely each and every day. Properly preparing for the task and effectively communicating with all members of the work is essential to them working safely. One way we are working to keep this in the forefront of our employees is the JSB card. So you'll see it on the screen there. It's the green card which they could attach with their employee ID. And this just serves as another reminder for the employees of all the necessary items that must be discussed before going to work. We have also created various training tools like a JSB video, which we include in various trainings, new employee safety orientation, and also block training. Moving on to customer injuries, our customer injuries are down 25% year over year, and we have been able to achieve this through various initiatives. Our TRAX outreach has reached nearly 60,000 individuals to date, and we are on schedule to reach well over 100,000 for the year. As part of this outreach, we focus on all areas of customer safety, from how to ride train safely with children to how to safely board around bridge plates. Each week, we also send out a safety tweet to all of our subscribers, which is tailored to our current issue or event of the week. So you'll see an example up on the screen. And then we also have our seasonal onboard campaign, which is onboard cars and at our stations. And there's another example on the screen. And then finally, with the installation of our onboard cameras, when an incident does occur on board our train, we're able to properly investigate, identify root cause, and any corresponding corrective actions to ensure the incident doesn't occur again. That concludes the presentation.
Any questions? So we'll ask Peter Koner to move on with MTA-CC initiatives.
Good morning. Think safety, we do. So how do we promote safety? Daily communication is focusing on awareness, operation plans, equipment, and tool safety. This is daily communication prior to each shift to all of our workforce. This is delivered by a competent person, managers, or engineers. So how do we oversee safety? We have a series of inputs and outputs that are both boots on the ground and analytics that are then shared with our contractors. Daily inspections, hazard log entry, that's daily, weekly incident dashboard, contractor notification, monthly summary reports, 3 hazard log, findings, mitigation strategies, CM, construction manager and project manager reviews, job hazard entries, quarterly safety evaluation, 25 categories, 230 elements, annually contract evaluation, ACE, and semi-annual annual reports. Injury trends analysis. This is something that is a great deal of time to analyze not only what and how, but where and what time of the day, what is affected, what is the seniority on a project, so we can address it through leading indicators to start to retrain and re-educate our workforce. Leading indicators. I have picked several of those because those were the ones that we have found to be the highest on a loss log. Ladder safety. The key here is the reduction of ladders and using more of an engineered control, such as platforms or scaffold. So how do we go about it? Requisitions, inspections, engineered controls, safe work plans, and construction work plans. Housekeeping. And housekeeping has always been an issue, especially in a busy workplace. Walkways, means of egress, lighting, debris removal, and site organizations are key. Dedicated debris removal teams and assignments certainly help to minimize the slip, trip, and falls. I think it's worthy to add that for the past 4 years we have been able to deliver continuous reduction to our lost-term injuries, resulting in incremental decreases over the last 4 years. Thank you.
So if there are no questions, we'll move on to Eric Osnes with initiatives at Bridges and Tunnels.
Good morning. So 2017 and 18 was a transitional year for Bridges and Tunnels. Slides 1 and 2 illustrates the transition from the use of tolls to open road tolling. Customer safety is a major component of what we track and measure, and as reported during Monday's committee meeting, we have experienced a downward trend in overall collisions when comparing year over year for the past 8 months. Elimination of merges at the tolls have proven to reduce collisions on our roadways. So we go to slide 3. Next one. Sorry. So our strategy to reduce collisions corresponds to basic safety management principles of education, engineering, and enforcement. Some of the leading indicators corresponding to these principles are permanent roadway configuration, which allows for efficient channelization of vehicles. Line striping provides motorists with a clear visual path of travel, which also promotes channelization. Active signage provides motorists with real-time roadway conditions to promote awareness. And we continuously work with travel navigation applications such as Waze to provide real-time conditions, also promoting awareness to our customers and motorists. Law enforcement, presence of and increased patrols provides and reinforces driver behavior. Next slide. So joint labor and management site assessments are a leading indicator associated with employee lost time injuries. This is where management and our union leads come together to identify, evaluate, and discuss conditions and corrective actions at each of our facilities. We use JHAs to identify high hazard operations and ensure that adequate controls are in place to address hazards identified. We're currently working on a project to inventory all of our operations and assign those operations to a specific hazard class, analyzing them through JHAs where they'll be on our website. The results of those analysis would be on our website and be available for management use. And although we have communicated a year-over-year improvement in lost time injuries, we're starting to see a trend in soft tissue injuries related to the use of vehicles. This makes sense because we simply are in cars more, and getting back to the concept of age, we're approaching an average age of about 48. So we're not as pliable as we used to be, and being in a car for a period of time may prove to be associated with these soft tissue injuries. So I've talked to Ann about this, and Ann and I are going to try to do a ergonomic evaluation to see if we can come up with some suggestions or mitigations in relation to how the worker can better fit the workplace in that regard. More stretching, maybe. Right. So, slide 5. So, contractor lost time injuries. We work with third-party site assessments so that they can give us feedback on conditions that are in the field, and if there are any behaviors associated with assigned tasks and contractor construction activities, we can get that feedback and provide action on that feedback we receive. We're also utilizing JHAs to better identify high-hazard operations so that contractors and CMs are working together on behalf of those JHAs. There's, again, there would be an alignment on the awareness of those high-hazard operations and making sure that the schedules are transparent so that there's a level of oversight that is commensurate with those hazards that have been identified.
Any questions?
Yes.
Not a question, sir, just a comment, maybe a repeat comment, but I think it deserves repetition. To Eric and Cedric and your management team, I think we in the Bridges and Tunnels Committee spent many, many months, I'd say almost a year, talking about this topic of customer injuries. The trend was scary, it was inexorable, and it was lengthy. It was at least 12 months, maybe it was longer, and the increase predated open road tolling, so it wasn't the sole reason. Cedric came on board after, I think, 3 previous presidents in very short order, and the marriage of what I would call left brain and right brain activity, analysis, and then leadership was astounding. And he listened. He heard the concerns of the board. He obviously, as a leader, cared deeply for the customers and his management team as well, and the employees. And through diligent examination of the problem, location by location, condition by condition, the trend improved. And now we are, as Eric said, 8 months into a trend in the opposite direction. We are not where we were 2+ years ago. The rate is still higher than we had been experiencing as a prior level. I hope it continues to improve. I hope it gets to where it once was and even below possibly. But I want to just praise publicly in this forum with the massive number of people in the audience in the back here who can all hear this. But I want to thank Cedric and Eric for the work they've done, because it does prove once again that the thing examined gets better by the very examination. And I think that is an important role that each of us play in management and on this board. So thank you, Cedric.
Yes. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, I've noticed that, and it is absolutely amazing the difference that it's made. But I think now that the open road tolling is in place, the lines are in place, the amount of how things flow, and I think, you know, it's interesting. I've seen this whenever there's traffic. Doesn't matter it's on a road or on the bridge or tunnels. Whenever it comes to a complete stop, a lot of people tend to take out their smartphones and start looking at it. It's a dangerous thing to do, even when you're not moving or just creeping along slowly, because that's where the bumps came into play. Any further questions, comments?
Just a comment, and thank you, Commissioner, for that acknowledgement of the work going on at Bridges and Tunnels. And Eric and I had a conversation the other day about open road tolling and what's going on, and I think this is an area, as the chairman mentioned, that we are going to continue to look at. And you're right, the team here is really diligent in terms of looking at data and looking at issues and trying to continue to improve. Thank you.
The agenda is...
So the agenda is concluded. I just wanted to make one comment. We joked a little bit about the stretching, but that truly is a best practice that Metro North has employed, and it may very well suit some of the issues at Bridges and Tunnels or others. So we will look at that more seriously.
Board calisthenics will be at 8:30 this morning. In any event, I'm waiting for Chuck, so I just should start that. If there aren't any further questions, I think I still need one more member for a quorum. So we will take up the minutes. We can. The approval of the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Minutes are approved. We will see everyone in 45 minutes. Thank you.